The rain slammed down in sheets so thick that Ranger Thomas Whitaker could barely see the hood of his old Ford truck. Wipers squeaked at full speed, doing little against the torrent. It had been a grueling 12-hour shift patrolling the remote edges of Blackwood Forest, and all he could think about was his daughter's birthday waiting at home, balloons, cake, and the smile he hadn't seen enough of lately. But fate wasn't ready to let him clock out just yet. Out of nowhere, a dark shape emerged on the flooded trail ahead, illuminated for a heartbeat by his high beams. Thomas slammed the brakes. Tires skidded, mud flying. The truck shuddered to a stop just inches away from what he realized, with a sickening jolt, was a dog. Not just any dog. A German shepherd, soaked and trembling, one paw lifted awkwardly, as if broken. The dog's intelligent eyes locked with Thomas's, unwavering despite the downpour. It wasn't moving. It wasn't running. It was blocking him, purposefully. Thomas cursed under his breath, flicked on the hazard lights, and stepped out into the rain that drenched him in seconds. "Hey, buddy," he called, his voice nearly drowned by the storm. "You're gonna get yourself killed standing out here like this." The dog didn't flinch. Instead, he limped closer, circled to the driver's side, and whined, a sound so desperate, it cut through the roar of the rain and lodged deep in Thomas's chest. He could have ignored it. Could have driven around, reported a stray, and made it home in time for the candles and laughter. But his gut told him there was more here. Years in the wild taught him to listen when nature spoke, and this dog was screaming for help without words. With a resigned sigh, Thomas knelt in the mud, hand outstretched. The dog sniffed it, then turned and limped away a few yards, pausing to glance back. "You want me to follow you?" Thomas asked, as if expecting an answer. A single bark, then the dog started limping into the trees. Thomas hesitated only a moment before jogging back to the truck for his flashlight and radio. He knew these woods. He knew their dangers. And something in that shepherd's eyes told him that turning away would haunt him forever. For the next mile, Thomas stumbled after the dog through the downpour, branches whipping at his face, boots sinking into mud that pulled like quicksand. Thunder rumbled overhead, mocking his every step. The dog limped ahead tirelessly, pausing only to make sure Thomas was still behind him. They reached a fallen log bridging a narrow ravine. On the other side, something glowed faintly, the wreck of an old pickup, half buried in brush. Thomas's chest tightened as he realized what he was seeing. He scrambled across the slick log and pushed through the undergrowth. Inside the crumpled truck, barely shielded by shattered glass, was a woman, unconscious, blood trickling from a gash on her forehead. And in her arms, barely visible beneath a soaked blanket, was a baby, crying weakly against the storm. "Oh God," Thomas breathed. He checked for a pulse. Alive, both of them. But barely. The dog, the shepherd, pressed close, whining urgently. Thomas realized the animal must have stayed with them for hours, maybe longer, in the freezing rain. Injured himself, he'd found help the only way he could, by risking his life to block a ranger's truck. Thomas keyed his radio, voice shaking. "Dispatch, this is Ranger Whitaker. I need EMTs at mile marker 47, Blackwood Trail. Vehicle crash, 2 victims, 1 adult female, 1 infant. Both critical. Static." Then a voice, "Copy that, Ranger. Sit tight." Minutes felt like hours. Thomas wrapped his coat around the baby, used his spare blanket to shield the mother, and kept one hand on the dog's neck, as if to reassure them both that help was coming. The shepherd leaned into him, shivering, yet stubbornly refusing to lie down. When the paramedics arrived, lights cutting through the rain, Thomas watched as they loaded the mother and child onto stretchers. He told them about the dog, about how he'd found them. The EMT, a young woman with kind eyes, knelt by the shepherd and whispered, "Good boy. You saved them." Back at the ranger station, Thomas couldn't stop thinking about the dog. Animal control wanted to take him to the county shelter, but Thomas put his foot down. "He's not a stray," he insisted. "He's a hero." He scanned the shepherd for a tag, found none. He posted online, called local vets, checked microchip registries, nothing. Days passed. The storm faded, but the memory of that night didn't. The woman survived. Her name was Jessica, a single mother driving home from visiting her sick father. The baby, Noah, was stable too. Jessica asked to meet the ranger who'd found them, and the dog who had refused to give up. When she saw the shepherd again, her tears mixed with laughter. "His name's Max," she said softly. "He was my late husband's K9 partner. He ran off during the funeral. I searched for weeks, I thought I'd lost him forever." Max wagged his tail, pressing his head into her lap, whimpering like a puppy. It would have been easy for Thomas to walk away then, but something about Max's loyalty stuck with him. The vet confirmed Max's leg was healing, but arthritis and age were catching up fast. Jessica, still recovering, didn't have the means to keep him anymore. So Thomas did what felt right. He took Max home. Introduced him to his daughter, Ellie, who squealed with delight and fed him scraps under the table when she thought no one was looking. Max slept by Ellie's bed every night from then on, like he had found a new purpose. Some nights, Thomas lay awake listening to the soft patter of rain against the roof, thinking about that moment on the forest road. About how a wounded dog's unwavering courage had saved 2 lives, and maybe, in a way, had saved Thomas too. When the forest feels colder than usual, when the wind howls through the pines like a lost spirit, Thomas knows he'll always remember that night, and the lesson Max left behind. That sometimes, when the storm rages the hardest, heroes appear where you least expect them. If this story touched your heart, please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think about Max's incredible courage. And don't forget to subscribe to Justice on Paws for more true stories of animal heroes who remind us what loyalty and love really mean. Until next time, stay kind, stay brave, and always listen when a paw taps at your door.